Mogami Arc Part 2!
Woo, boy!
This was a very highly anticipated episode, and I think it was the first one this season that had an actual kind of backlash to it from a lot of manga readers. Yeah, I don't think backlash is too strong of a word. Like, people were pretty upset about some things.
I think they were just kind of, like, somewhat disappointed, which...
Yeah.
Some people were kind of disappointed that they felt like a lot of the bullying scenes were toned down or removed a lot. Like, of the...
Which is true.
Yeah, which is, like, they removed, like, Minori stabbing Mob with, like, what did she have, like, a box cutter?
Yeah, she had some,
where did she
like, janky weapon.
She just fucking, her dad's like, just take this to school with you.
Take this, like, razor on a stick.
To school with you.
Kid
it's good.
In the schoolyard.
And also, they didn't kill the cat.
Yeah, so I think those are two of the things that were, like, sort of the most violent things that happened, and neither of them happened.
And, like, and so with that, people also felt like because the first half of the episode kind of focuses on more of the bullying that happens, and people felt it was kind of rushed.
Yeah, and that whole part was really only a few minutes, and it was very, like, montage-like, which I think, like, looking back at how it is in the manga, it's not that different.
Yeah.
Because it still has, like, Mogami kind of doing what can only be translated as, like, a voiceover in the manga.
Yeah, he's just like, doing, like, a narration kind of thing.
Talking at Mob.
Well, he's like, poor Mob gets bullied at school, and he can't even go home and sleep because this fucking spirit is, like, talking his ear off. He's like, can I go to bed at least? The thing is, though, it's like, I did kind of feel like it did feel a little rushed when I first watched it, but then it's like, you kind of have to remember, like, it's different mediums, so it's going to translate differently, and plus, like, if you're a faster reader, you might have read it faster, too. So
yeah, I'm a slow reader, so it took forever for me to...
Right, and
it took an actual 6 months.
That's false. You finished the series in, like,
I know,
one
I
night.
read it in, like, 24 hours.
You really did, and like, I focus on every single panel, so I kind of get where people are going with. And also, even with removing some of the more severe scenes, I still feel like it left the same impact.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think the first time I watched it, I think it went by fast, but it was also just the first time I was watching it, so I didn't know what to expect. But then when I watched it again, I was like, oh, this is good.
I can't really judge the pacing on Mob Psycho episodes, because every time I watch a new episode, I'm running on endorphins. Like, I like, am about to die, and I'm like, all right, let's go. What's going on?
Barely coherent.
Yeah, I'm fucking feral when a new episode drops.
That is a mood.
And that's how, and I have to watch it again later when I'm not as, like, foaming at the mouth.
And I think in another way, like, obviously this isn't something that they can translate to the anime, but because the manga's in black and white, I think a lot of these scenes just seemed more impactful, like, especially when Mob has all of that blood, like, running down his head when he sees Dimple and stuff. I think, like, it just looks, like, more intense in black and white.
It does, especially just with, like, and this isn't, like, a diss to Mob's character design, who I think has a wonderful one, but the black ink for his hair used as well as the black ink for the blood, like, it kind of mixes together, so it doesn't, it's not as, like, clear, especially because the colors are kind of diluted in the Mogami land.
It's kind of unsaturated.
Yeah, so the blood on both Mob, and even when the blood splatters onto Minori, it really stands out a lot. So, all in all, I feel like they did the bullying pretty well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
One small change that I thought was interesting was that when Ritsu walks past in the manga, he walks, like, directly past Mob.
He just, like, steps over him.
He, like, steps over him, which is, like, maybe more impactful, I guess. But then it also seems like less. I don't know. That part of, like, Ritsu, boy.
Sorry, dude. Tough break.
Tough break, dude. But in the anime, he's like way up on a bridge, so he's not walking directly past this poor kid.
Actually, I take it back. No, the one thing that I wish they kind of did keep was, I really loved how in the manga, it starts the Mogami arc with, like, going through Mob's every day like that, and then when he gets to Mogami Land, it's almost the exact same, except you see, like, that really impacted me, and I don't know, just like how similar it is, and I just love that kind of transition where it was almost the exact same panels. So I kind of wish they kept that a little bit more. I mean, they obviously kept it with the bullying scene, and that really hurt. But but I wish they kind of kept it a little bit more, and I understand why they didn't. They probably didn't have time for it or anything. But that's
they had to move like the bullying scene up an episode because otherwise they just wouldn't.
Right, exactly. And they know they had to keep that. Also, I kind of wish I don't know, the fact that he spent his time in there for 60 months. 60 months? Holy shit. Holy fuck. 6 months.
Holy like 5 years.
Holy shit. 6 months. It felt like kind of like a throwaway line.
Right. And I mean, maybe if I understood Japanese and it wasn't just a subtitle, it would hit harder to hear him say that. But I think just like reading it as a subtitle, like I know some people on Tumblr like missed it completely.
Yeah,
didn't even like notice that fact was in there, and it was actually in there twice that he mentioned.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he mentioned twice that it had been 6 months, just in case you missed it the first time.
Oh.
But the panel in the black and white that says for half a year,
it just is just
like such a gut punch.
Yeah, I remember when I first read through it, I had to put my phone down because I was like, oh,
suffer.
Fuck.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you catch it, it still leaves the same impact to people who only watch the anime.
Yeah, I think, yeah, for sure. Like, when you've read the manga, you know, like, what's going to happen, so it's hard to kind of have the same impact.
Yeah.
And, like, because you don't have the suspense, you don't have the surprise of, like, how bad it's going to get. You only kind of notice, like, what's not as good in a lot of ways.
Like, I like to see how they translate it, and especially because Bones has such a way with animating it so beautifully. Like, even like you were kind of saying, like while we were watching it, it's kind of a lot of dialogue heavy, but even then they do a lot of cool like animation styles with it, especially when Mogami is like going more in depth with his backstory and how his mother died.
Yeah, the animation for that part was amazing.
Yeah, and how she's like, "This is your fault, bitch," and he's like, "Oh fuck, oh I messed up." He's like, "Mother."
Sorry.
So yeah.
So I guess moving on to the Reagan and Dimple mob scene that I'm gonna kind of talk about this for a minute because I think I went on record in our last episode talking about how this scene. I wish this was an exaggeration, but this is like literally my favorite scene in Mogami because I'm just a Reagan bitch. Like, I just love Reagan so much.
You're such a Reagan slut.
I'm a Reagan slut. And I just love this scene because it shows how, like, Reagan and Dimple are both sort of having this moment of, like, kind of lying to each other and lying to themselves, but it's also this moment of, like, understanding between them. But anyway, it seemed immediately, like, very different when I was watching it because the way that it was translated was very different. So in the manga it says, why are you staying? Because he trusts me. And like, is he really that stupid? Yeah, he is, or whatever. And in the anime, it was, why are you staying? Because I trust him. Are you really that stupid? Yeah, I am. And then it kind of continued the same way. And I was just like thrown off because I'm like, oh, that's like the opposite.
I was too.
And also like Reagan's body language was very different in the anime as well. I guess I should talk about the translation thing first. So what I learned, because I made a post complaining about it on Tumblr, and then I learned that the script in Japanese was not changed at all from the manga to the anime. It was just the way that it was interpreted by the translators was different.
Yeah.
So what it really meant was something more like because of trust, just implying like a mutual trust between them. And it wasn't really specified like who was doing the trusting and who was stupid for doing the trusting.
Right.
And I really like knowing that now because I think it does sort of add a lot to that scene. But yeah, the way that it was translated just threw me off right away. But yeah, going back to Reagan's body language, it was really different for him to like be on his phone and like, what is he doing?
I think to me, I kind of read it as like he's still kind of trying to be standoffish, like how you mentioned how he's kind of trying to lie to himself and like he lied, like, he's like, we both can still use him, and he's, like, kind of trying to lie to Dimple and himself and put off this stance that's, like, I don't really care about him, and he's trying to maybe act disinterested. He also could just be trying to, like, distract himself, because he's like, oh, fuck, just fucking play Candy Crush on my phone to calm down.
Calm down. Yeah, I get that. I think that's just wasn't, I can see that interpretation, but I think that just wasn't how it came off to me immediately. Yeah, because I think like in the manga it could because when he says, like, because of trust, he's like, we don't see his face in that panel.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he's just like facing away. So it makes it this more sort of like serious moment, and it seems a lot more sincere.
Yeah.
Rather than just like a like sort of offhand like comment.
Right.
But anyway, I still love the scene. I still love Dimple Mob, so it's fine.
I love Dimple Mob, especially because like it's just fun to see like expressions you usually don't see on Mob's face, like him expressing them, and I can't wait to see him again later on in the season.
Oh yeah,
and they give him a gun.
Give Dimple Mob a gun.
They do. I always forget that, and then I'll wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, he has a gun. Mob has a gun.
You know what else I keep forgetting is going to be this season? Dimple Musashi.
Oh fuck, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh shit. World
Dom arc is fucking sick. I feel like it's so good.
World Dom was like a fever dream for me because I was just like rushing through it. I need to reread it again.
I need to reread the whole thing because it's long, and they're probably going to cut out like significant chunks of it.
Definitely.
Just because there is so much. But anyway, we should be talking about World Dom arc.
Anyway,
the fight.
Well, so Dimple finally gets into. He's like,
oh yeah.
This is enough time, and he like goes into Mogami land.
Yeah, I like how they did that too. How they animated that part.
I did too. Oh, with him trying to get past like the mental shield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did too. That was really good. Just like a little thing, and I really like the auras that they use with all the characters, and I'll probably talk more about this later on. But just like how each character has different colors, but like when Mob uses it while Dimple's possessing him, it's green instead of like his usual.
Yeah, that was a really cool touch.
Yeah, just like the color usage they use. But anyway, so Dimple goes into Mogami land.
Yeah,
and punches Mob and is like, "Get your shit together."
Just a nice friendly punch of love.
Friendly punch of love.
I love this whole scene, and I should say for our longtime listeners that between last episode and this episode, I reread Broccoli Arc. And I understood it this time, and I'm now a Dimple stan. So I formally retract all my previous statements about not caring about Dimple. I care about Dimple so much now.
When you were like, because when you were first reading through it all, you were like texting me constantly, and then when you were like, oh wow, World Dom, wow, Sarazawa, and then when you got to Broccoli, it was like radio silence, and I'm like, Are you still reading? Did you get to Broccoli yet?
I honestly, I have no explanation for what happened to me.
You, blacked out during Broccoli Arc.
I honestly, I wish I was kidding, but I have no memory of reading Broccoli Arc the first time.
I know you did for sure, because I kept sending you memes about it. I'm like, did you get to this scene? And you were like, yeah. And I was like, here's a meme about
I guess. I don't know. I just didn't understand what was happening when I read it. I have no reading comprehension.
You don't.
I really don't.
It's okay. Well,
even though it's very obvious what's going on in that scene,
right.
I don't think I read it, to be honest.
Honestly, I kind of get that, especially when I read stuff on my phone or online instead of if I feel like I understand it better when I have a physical copy, which is why
your eyes are seeing the words, but you're not reading them.
Which is why everyone needs to go buy the Mob Psycho volume so Dark Horse can still keep translating them and publishing them and they don't drop it.
Yeah, oh my god, I want all of the manga volumes.
Yeah, if you have the money,
it's gonna take
go buy the manga
6 years.
That's okay, I'll wait.
It's fine.
I'll still be feral.
Yeah, it'll be equally feral from Mob Psycho.
But anyway,
I just had to throw that in there. So yeah, I loved this scene so much of Dimple just kind of giving this sort of tough love to Mob of hey, I know you're better than this. Knock it off. Oh my god, I was smiling so much. I was crying.
Yeah, I did too. I loved just I really liked the scene too in the manga where he's like, Reagan and I are waiting for you. Do you want to do this for Reagan? What don't you want to be the older brother that your little brother looks at? And he remembers everybody, and Reagan calls him and and then the little blood sprout turns into a flower, which is always really funny to me. And then his muscles and
there's just a lot of comedy and just a nice, really sweet scene. In the manga, it was a really heartfelt scene for me, especially after all the bullying, and I feel like it still holds the same impact in this episode as it does then, where it's just, I don't know, it's just very heartfelt. I felt very emotional watching this scene, more so than I think with the bullying thing. Not that I wasn't impacted by it, but I think this scene was really when I was just had tears in my eyes.
Right, no, yeah, and I definitely had tears in my eyes when I was reading through it too, because the thing with Mob Psycho is Mob goes through shit, and he gets hurt. but like it's never for like nothing, and it's always for like some sort of progression for his character, and it always leads him to like in a good spot. Yeah, which is why I really like Mogami arc, because he ends up in a very good spot afterwards.
And what I really like about this arc and the kind of moral of it is that Mob he's not naive. Like he knows that the world is so bad. Yes. And he says like during the fight, like, oh, the world is so cruel. And like he knows. I mean, he's been through 6 months of hell. Like, he's not a naive kid, but he still believes that people can be good and that people can change.
Right. And that's what gets me, is like Mob's kindness isn't from being naive.
Yes.
He knows what goes on in the world, and even then when he's out of Mogami, he's like, I should go thank everybody for being in my life. And that's what hits me, is that like he holds no grudge against Mogami. Even he holds no grudge against anything.
Right, when he says like, oh, I learned that from Mogami-san. Yeah,
right, exactly. He looks at the bright side of it, because he honestly is a very optimistic character, and morality wise, he's very optimistic,
and he's trying to be that way too.
Right,
like he's like actively trying to be to be forgiving and to be compassionate,
and that's
even
what
when it's hard.
And that's what kills me, is like he always tries to be forgiving and compassionate to these characters, but he doesn't put that on himself.
Right, I know. Okay, I am working on like a 4,000 word long video essay about this topic that will be out when the season is over. So for anyone who's listening to this, watch out for that after the end of this season.
But it kills me, because he still doesn't forgive himself, and because just like from everything from like when he first goes to 100% in season 1, and he says, I'm terrible, while defeating Dimple, to like 100% sadness when he feels terrible about Teru, to like what he did with Ritsu when he was a kid.
And then in this episode he says like, with my powers I can save another person.
He says like something, doesn't he say like, with these useless
powers I can save someone. So he's like realizing, and he's kind of been gradually realizing it, that his powers are worth something and that he's worth something.
Right.
But he only sees his worth in his ability to help other people.
Right.
He doesn't yet see himself as like as having worth, like in who he is and himself. He feels like he has to change to be worthy.
Exactly. He feels like these powers can do good, but he doesn't realize he's the one controlling the powers.
Because he never fights back to save himself.
Exactly.
He only fights back to save like other people.
Exactly, and that's what kills me about Mob's character, is because I feel
going
like
through it, lads.
Right. Well, I feel like people are very much like, oh, he's so naive, that's why he's so kind. And even Mogami is like that, but it's like, no, he knows there's bad people in the world, but he believes people can change.
Yeah, and that's what Mogami gets wrong, is that he thinks that Mob just hasn't seen the bad in the world.
But he has,
and he's still a good person.
Right.
I'm so emotional.
I love Mob.
Oh my god, I love Mob.
The whole theme of Mob Psycho being like, people can change, like just, especially where I was as a person when I read it, just hit me so hard.
Oh my god.
But anyway,
that really that went off.
My one gripe with this scene.
Yeah.
I feel like the music doesn't really match.
The Dimple scene you're talking about, when
yes.
I agree, and when he says like people can change, I agree that I think that I liked the music at first, but then I think it just went on a little too long with that same kind of like
the beat, just
in like a video game like home screen.
Yeah, it does. It kind of, well, because I remember it from the trailer, and it makes me think of the Body Improvement Club, and I feel like it'll probably be used again during like the little marathon.
Oh, that'd be cute.
I feel like it'll probably be used again then. Yeah. But, I feel like it didn't really match, but that's okay. Anyway, the fight was good. Wow, it's, like, really hard to comprehend the fight scene because the animation is so amazing.
Right.
And, like, mind-blowing.
There's a lot going on there. And when they brought out triple question mark at the end, so cool.
Yeah, just like,
I loved how they animated that.
They did really well. They've always done like really cool things with the animated fight scenes, like, and it's just, it's super trippy.
The fight against, the boss fight at the end of the season, like, I just reread that.
The boss?
Like, against, like, Tochiro. Isn't it called boss fight, that chapter?
Oh, is it?
I think it is.
I was like, is this a video game?
No, well, I don't know. I think because he's the boss of Claw.
Oh, that makes sense.
I think it's called Boss Fight. Anyway,
I
like just reread that, and I was just like, oh, this is gonna be so fucking so beautiful.
Good.
Like,
that's the thing is, the thing is, I really love like how I kind of said with the auras, like how the color that they use, and again they kind of go again with just seeing Mob's like
Mob's aura versus Mogami's aura.
Mogami's aura, and just like the red and the black everywhere, but like you see like Mob's like light kind of
light shining.
His light shining.
The darkness.
Yeah,
baby boy.
I know, it's just really well animated.
I just want to shout out to that yell. The yell that Mob, he's like, oh my gosh.
You should probably say where that's at. It's like right when Dimple leaves, right?
You guys know what I'm talking about. When Bob yells. I mean, he has never yelled, so I think we all noticed that.
Yeah, so I actually didn't notice that until I was watching like the commentary the English dub people did.
Yeah.
That Mogami. Mob doesn't talk. Or he doesn't make noise when he does fights.
Right,
He's quiet.
He doesn't really, like, make any, like, grunts or, like, Rah!
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't, like, a normal anime character fighting would, but...
So, this was, like, the first time when something like that happened, and I loved it.
Yeah, it was really good.
And then the end of this episode...
Yeah.
I really liked how they did Minori's apology. I just thought the animation of how she moved was great, and it was slightly different than in the manga, and I think it was a really good change.
It was.
Because in the manga, when she breaks down crying, she's facing Mob, and in the anime, she's, like, turned away from him. Yeah. And I just feel like that added, like, that felt really in line with her character.
It did.
That she's, like, really ashamed of what she did, and... Yeah, I thought it was good.
I might have mentioned this before, but I really feel like Bones really does a really good job with giving each character their distinct body movements, and like you can like even looking at Reagan, his stance is very particular. And I know somebody pointed this out, or maybe we talked about it. Mogami holds a stance very similar. And there's just a lot of depth to that, and like no two characters stand or hold themselves the same way. So even like really small part characters like Minori, you can read a lot from just how she approaches Mob in that scene, how she pats him on the shoulder and is about to again before she walks away.
I love that when she reaches out to pat him again, but then she like pulls her hand back. I just thought that was such a great touch. Like it just felt so real.
I feel like One is so good at bringing a lot of depth to his characters in very small like chapters. Like you don't have to see him for a very long time to get their development, and with that, Bones just builds that up even more when they animate them. So they really translate that medium really well for me. But yeah. So yeah.
Good episode.
It was really good. I really liked it.
I think that, manga readers had to work through maybe some disappointment within the first few hours, but I think people kind of got over it and are appreciating it now for what it is, because it's a great episode.
And the thing is, like, I appreciate when anime don't directly, like, keep every single scene, because then it's like, there's more incentive to read the manga.
Yeah.
Just to see, like, what's different or how themes are changed differently or anything. Yeah. So next week is the arc you're waiting for.
Separation arc. Again, I wish I was kidding, but Separation arc is my favorite arc.
Honestly, I think it might be mine too.
I just love it. I love everything about it. I'm really gonna lose it, and I think it's gonna be 2 full episodes. I kind of spent some time like thinking about where it would be cut off and stuff, and I think that this next week's episode is gonna go all the way through what would be, I think the end of chapter 71 would be chapters 68 through 71, and 71 ends right when Reagan has been on TV and is exposed.
Oh, fuck.
So I'm like, honestly, I'm 100% sure that that's when the episode's going to end, and then that episode 7 would be chapters 72 and 73, which is sort of the fallout and the press conference scene, because I think the press conference scene is going to be pretty long, like 10 minutes long, just because there's a flashback scene involved.
Oh, yeah, and we know for sure they're doing another flashback scene.
Yeah, they're doing another flashback scene. Yeah. That's going to be longer than the first one, because it's going to be from, like, Reagan's perspective, which starts, like, before Mob gets there, and it's going to have, like, voiceover.
Yeah, and it's going to kind of, doesn't he kind of explain, like, he was about to quit that agency?
Because in season 1 it starts, like, right when Mob walks in, but then in the manga he's, like, thinking to himself, like, oh, I'm going to quit because I'm just doing massages. And
it's, like, more so from Reagan's perspective.
Right. I'm so excited to see how they do that.
That's going to be really cool to see, and just, like, compare that scene to the scene in season 1.
But now we're just talking about episode 7, but...
Oh, yeah, that's true. Anyway.
We got another week. But, yeah, I'm so excited for this. I mean, there's so much that we're going to see in this episode.
Wait, I like how you noted Reagan stalking Mob. Like, all right.
Well, I wrote out, so we're looking at our notes, and I just wrote out all the things that we're going to see. So we're going to see I've always referred to it as a breakup scene.
Oh, yeah,
because they break up.
Reagan fucks up. Reagan touches a nerve. And
title screen. Reagan fucks up.
Reagan fucks up. That's the
Always Sunny theme.
That's the name of the episode. Reagan fucks up.
Yeah.
I
guess I made a post of this on Tumblr, but for those of you that maybe don't know what poor lonely Whitey is referring to, it's referring to a white collar worker.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I saw someone said it. I just didn't know what it meant. I know a lot of people are like, are they calling Reagan white? And no, they're not.
Well, so the thing is, that phrase was used in the manga too, and when I first read it, I never knew it, and I was like, I just kind of accepted it. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I honestly, I was just like, I don't know what it means, and I'm not going to think about it. But yeah, it refers to as a white collar worker. So if anyone was wondering, I know a lot of people didn't know what that means because it's just a weird translation.
Do you think it's possible that they would fit the whole arc in that episode?
No.
Okay.
I'm like 100% sure it's going to be two full episodes.
Yeah, because the TV, even getting exposed on TV is going to take a while.
Right. Like, it's just, there's a lot that happens. I mean, you think about everything that's going to happen, like, next episodes, like the breakup scene, Reagan has to, like, stalk Mob in the street, the karaoke scene, Reagan getting drunk and sad, Reagan then... like, you know, a little montage of him, you know, getting his life together and, you know, building up his reputation and then going on TV. So there's, like, a lot that has to happen still. And, like, the TV scene alone is probably going to be 5 minutes.
Is next episode the one where it's like, you have one new message.
Yeah.
It's your birthday. Yeah. You have no messages.
Oh,
really?
These next 2 episodes are going to be my favorite episodes of Mob Psycho.
Yeah, I'm really... The thing that really gets me with Mob Psycho, my favorite character interactions are, of course, between Reagan and Mob, and I really love their dynamic. Mm-hmm. So this arc is also a favorite of mine. So I'm really...
so much.
I'm really...
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
And we're almost there, because it's Friday night, so...
yeah.
We're close.
Yeah. And then we'll get to... I'm just looking forward to World Dom, too, because after this is directly World Dom, and we finally see my dad.
Serizawa. I was gonna be like, show?
Show's my son?
Show is my 13-year-old dad.
You are my dad. God damn it. Anyway.
Yeah. Serizawa.
It's almost Serizawa time, lads. Right after Separation Arc, we're on a 24-hour Serizawa lockdown.
We're not gonna see Serizawa until probably episode 9 or 10.
We are on a 3-week Serizawa lockdown, lads.
Wait, if 7 is the end, so 8 was going to be marathon and show burning the house down and maybe a bit of the beginning. Serizawa might be not in it until episode 10.
We're going to be on a 2-week Serizawa lockdown. I'm going to black out when I see him.
I really am.
All right, that's all we have.
That's all we got. We'll hit you next week.
Next week, I'm going to be drunk with Reagan.
Yeah, let's get drunk and talk about Separation Arc next week.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you think we should get drunk while we talk about Separation Arc next week.
If we get 1,000 views, we'll get blackout drunk and talk about Separation Arc.
If we get 5 comments that says, yeah, be drunk, we'll do it.
That's all. That's the bar. 5 comments.
Do we get a lot of comments?
Yeah, you don't look at our YouTube. We don't get very many comments.
See, so 5
comments, and we'll do it.
If one person says it, we'll do it. Anyway.
We'll probably do it anyway.
On lemon sours.
Yeah. Rissa got a lemon drop tonight. She's
they're called lemon drops.
Well, I think in the manga they call them lemon sours. I don't think they're the same drink, but...
Oh, are they not?
I don't think so.
That's why I got it.
Well, whatever. I think a lemon drop is different than a lemon sour.
I think it's a variation on it.
I think lemon sour...
Do I look like a fucking bartender?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Did I go to bar school?
I don't know.
Alcohol school?
Did I go to alcohol school?
I didn't go to
okay, we need to wrap this up.
You make it, you version? Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.